Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Who the hell am I?
I'm a construction worker.
After the bathroom, I said, be right back.
I'm a cop, you idiot!
Pasta.
Oh! I'm Detective John Kimball.
Who is your daddy?
Answer the question!
And what does he do?
Put that cookie down! Now!
Oh, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Into the... This show where we're...
surfing the multiverse of Arnold films.
Yeah, we're taking a dip through the multiverse. We're like sliders. We're sliding through the Arnold tubes.
Yep.
That's what we're doing.
Sliding through like a fist through the alien bounty hunter's midsection.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Oh, okay. First of all, I want to thank our producer, Norm from Cheers, for making this all happen. Thank you, Norm. So much for tasking us with going through all the Schwarzenegger films.
Thank you so much for hiring us to do a thing we would do anyway.
Yeah, and we covered Conan, we covered Stay Hungry, we covered Hercules.
We sure did cover Stay Hungry.
Yeah, and now we're finally at The Terminator, 1984's James Cameron directed, starring Linda Hamilton and Michael Biehn, and another guy.
Yeah,
and this is gonna be a weird one, in my opinion, Tom.
Oh,
because it's the Terminator. Like, here's the thing. Stay Hungry, Conan, Hercules in New York, those are all films I was like slightly removed from, emotionally.
Yeah.
This is just my childhood. So it's like doing a review of Jurassic Park, It's like, well, shit.
Yeah, well.
Like, where do we even begin?
Yeah. Well, luckily, we have a roadmap that we've
That's true, but I do want to...
for this show.
I do want to ask you, like, did you see this or Terminator 2 first?
This.
Okay. See, I think a lot of people my age saw Terminator 2 first, because that was the one that was like, there's a kid in it. It's for kids. We're having fun.
Well, it was
like
also
that,
it was inescapable in the summer of '91.
Yes,
it was,
and we were also of the age.
Yeah,
like that was the age where you start watching movies.
Yeah,
like
and
this.
they marketed this, even though Terminator 2 is pretty. It's pretty grisly
Adult?
R, for especially for like a mainstream blockbuster. But the marketing for this movie was so aggressive. They were and kid oriented. They were comic books, toys, video games, action figures. This movie was everywhere.
This was the days where we loved marketing R-rated movies to children. I have a book that I made in second grade that's just a recount of the plot of Terminator 2.
Same.
Made by a child.
Mine's in first grade, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because it was just fucking amazing. It's Terminator 2. And like thinking about how, because this is 84, Terminator 2 was 91, right?
Yes.
That's a wild difference. Like the hype around Terminator 2, you can really like see from that time difference and what the added CGI and what this was. But of course, this was the film that started it all.
Yeah, it's also a very different movie from Terminator 2.
Yeah, and as we go into our first section, which is the plot, I mean, we've talked about this, and I don't think it's a surprise, but I definitely want to talk about all the ways that this is a action slasher.
This is a slasher film, yes.
Yeah, instead of horror, they do action sequences. But other than that, it's a slasher film. It is a monster that obviously keeps going even when it's falling apart.
Yeah.
The Terminator is basically Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Especially
Except
since
he's
they also have
technological instead of supernatural.
And when you think about like Mountains of Skulls, that can be hell, or it could be a robot apocalypse. Like the imagery is similar.
Yeah. No, this movie is filmed like a slasher movie too. It's grimy, it's gritty, it's a lot of guerrilla filmmaking. She
goes into the garage and there's POVs of her looking left and right. They do the thing where a couple has sex and is killed. There's like the starting murders, leading up. There's the Michael Myers Laurie connection where the killer there's a lore behind her. She's a special person.
Yeah.
She is targeted. Elaborate lore setup of this future war, like a origin story for a slasher. There's slasher deaths. He punches through a man. That's a fucking Jason kill.
Yep. He murders a lot of people. Just straight up.
There's 2 fake outs where the killer is dead and then not dead,
but then isn't. Yeah. It's a slasher movie in its bones. It's got some noir-ish. It's kind of neo-noir in some ways.
Of course, if you ask James Cameron, he named the nightclub after the genre he thought this was, which is tech noir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. I've said this before, and I've written about this before, but claims of plagiarism from Harlan Ellison aside, it's also one of the most original films ever made.
Yeah, it is and it isn't, because I think that didn't The Matrix also have this? Was it Harlan Ellison with The Matrix as well?
Probably.
Where it's like robots taking over. Like it's more that what makes it original is that they take a premise, the robot apocalypse that isn't original, and they just reframed it in a way you hadn't seen.
It's the execution, yeah. It's both,
again, the slasher element.
It's both the idea and the execution of the idea.
And when you think of this as a slasher film, it's wildly original, because every slasher film is the same thing.
Yeah.
We need to figure out why is this person unstoppable? Why are they going after this person? It's always demonic possession or just evil.
Or vengeance
or vengeance. This thought of a completely original idea to get us to that.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 still, I think, plays off of it, because I think the core of Terminator movies should be there's this unstoppable thing coming after you.
They're all chase movies.
Yes.
Except for Salvation, but that
except for when they're not. Except for when they're also Terminator Genesis.
That's
where it's just
they're still being pursued, but yeah.
Yeah, but it falls apart,
Yeah.
And a lot of the later ones do, but they're still at their heart. We're being pursued. We're trying to get away.
Which is, you're right. It's a derivative, or it's an iteration of a slasher film, because a lot of slasher films are, chase movies, but not all chase movies are slasher films.
Right. And they also, one of the key things they do that the later Terminators, even Terminator 2 doesn't do, is they make them incredibly outgunned. Kyle Reese shows up with a single sawed-off shotgun. They actually put the scenes side by side with the Terminator just splurging at a gun shop.
Yeah.
And so they're showing, he has all the guns, Kyle Reese has none of the guns.
He's outmatched in every possible way. He's a human. He's small. Arnold's huge. Michael Biehn is small. He has no resources whatsoever. The Terminator can get whatever he wants, and he also has a computer brain, so he knows where to get everything he wants.
Right.
He's physically no match for Arnold. Obviously, he wouldn't be anyway, but Arnold has the additional element of he's a fucking robot.
Right.
And they don't have any. There's no weapons in the time period that they're in that can really damage him.
Right, and it's one of those things that...
And nobody believes them. And nobody believes them.
And nobody believes them. This isn't a critique of T2, because that movie's obviously great, but even T2 can't do it. The end of this... Well, the end of this movie... Oh, no. What I mean is, the end of this movie, it's just Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
And it's straight up horror movie. She has to kill this thing. Kyle Reese is dead. At the end of T2, you compare it to the Terminator is still there. And it still takes the final...
Right, but it takes all of them to beat him, and yeah.
Terminator 2 definitely, and I would say the newest one, Dark Fate, definitely have that element where it's we can't fucking kill this thing.
It's just unkillable. Yeah,
this is the purest form of that, And I'm not like I can't stress enough that doesn't mean it's not a sign of quality. It's just in terms of pure desperation.
Right.
There's nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
This is peak.
Right, because at least in like Terminator 2, I think obviously again that's a fucking incredible movie, all-time classic.
Yeah.
And they up the stakes obviously very well. The T-1000 is a villain that will probably never be topped.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still does have like at the end of the day, like you still have a basically indestructible robot on your team, whereas in this first one, it's just Kyle Reese.
Yeah, and that's it. It's the difference, and I think a lot of people have made this comparison between Alien and Aliens, especially since James Cameron did Aliens, which is that like it's just two different tones. There's a lot of arguments about which one is the better one.
Well, they're two different films.
And and they're two different types of films.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
And you can't even really compare them. I always kind of go to the side of Alien and this are the purest forms.
I agree.
Are the first idea, and I, even though I don't necessarily enjoy the first ones, like I've seen Aliens and I've seen Terminator 2 way more times than I've seen Terminator and Alien. They are I think the better version.
I will say
in a weird way.
Yeah, no, I get that. As I've gotten older, I definitely watch Alien and Terminator more often than I watch Aliens or Terminator 2.
Alien, especially, because Alien is a fucking great movie.
Yeah, and it's also
a horror movie.
It's so heavy. Yeah, the reason I didn't watch that one a whole lot when I was a kid is because it scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah, it's fucking scary.
And it's intense and it's bleak.
Yeah,
it's not just that it's scary; it's so bleak.
Yeah, Alien is a horror movie. Straight up horror movie.
Yeah.
I would say this isn't a horror movie. It's just a slasher film.
Yeah.
And so there's just a grit to it that you'll never see again in this franchise.
Yeah.
It just, there's, I don't know, something about it where it's very special.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the Terminator.
It's the Terminator. What a fucking idea, man. That's all I can say is what an idea.
I did read that the original plan from this was to have two Terminators. One was going to be a liquid metal, and James Cameron was like trying to figure out the logistics, and he was like,
I just can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I need to wait. He was going to do stop motion, and it's like
part of what. Yeah, I mean, we've already said that. It's just a major part. It's not just the idea; it's also the execution, and like so much of this movie's greatness comes from. Like I think the psychiatrist Dr. Silverman actually says to Reese, he's like, the story you've concocted is great because it doesn't require any proof. And in a way, it's you can kind of see that as like a meta commentary in the film itself because it gives you it creates such a compelling, realized backstory without really showing it to us.
Yeah.
But it does. It shows us just enough, and it does a lot of very effectively with the little bit that it shows us. It's fucking great film.
Yeah, the time travel stuff. This is a movie that had we been making podcasts in 1990, I guess we'd be on the radio then.
Yeah, we would just have a talk show.
And I heard that if I had heard they're making a Terminator 2, I would have at the time been like, "Oh, what a terrible idea." Mm-hmm. You can't do that. It's going to get too convoluted and and I would be wrong. Mind you can't make 3 of them, but you know what I mean.
Really
where
shouldn't.
It's like, where this is a limited.
Mm-hmm. It's designed
story.
to be a closed loop. That's the point.
That's the point
of a bootstrap paradox, right?
Yeah, I think so. My gripe that I've said a million times with Terminator is that they got too lost in the time travel mythology and forgot that it was just a device to
it wasn't the important thing.
And I think what James Cameron did in this, which he absolutely should have done, but I think it's what threw people off, is creating the time loop where Kyle Reese ends up being John Connor's father. I think that's like a spice added to the story.
Yeah, it's a little bit of spice, a little bit of flavor. Yeah. Roll it around on your tongue. Tasty.
Yeah, it is. It's delicious.
Delightful.
Yeah. One thing I noticed watching this again that I hadn't noticed before, or maybe I had and I forgot. There's one moment where I'm like, well, that's dumb. And it's when the Terminator runs into the wall and the cops show up, and the Terminator's
He's
like,
just gone.
cops are here, gotta go. And it's like, wait a second. Well, you just finished the job. You're right there, Terminator.
Yeah, it has.
But-
That has always kind of bugged me a little bit because he just I guess he needed to go back and regroup because he got fucked up a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's like, honestly, like the police station attack should have just happened right there because he's a robot. His sole purpose for existing is to kill Sarah Connor, and she's right there.
And, yeah, she's 10 feet away.
She's being handcuffed and detained. They are literally like trussing her up for him, and he fucking runs off. He's like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here. I got priors. You're the fucking Terminator.
Just run at her and crush her head.
None of
Doesn't
them can
matter how
stop
many
you.
times you're shot.
And it's not like the Terminator, like the biggest one of the, it's one of the things that Kyle Reese says about him, but like it doesn't care about whether or not it survives.
Yeah.
The only purpose it has is killing Sarah Connor. That's it.
It's similar to when the T-1000 and T2 stab Sarah Connor and is like, call to John. And it's like, I think you can do that.
Because he does later. I always wonder if that was a vestige of when
the
cutscene where he's like fucked up.
Yeah, I think that was the idea, and
he
they
can't
cut it.
quite control his shape shifting anymore after he got frozen.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed watching this again, this is a small thing. It's not a plot hole. I just didn't notice how hilarious the sound is when Kyle Reese hits the Terminator with his car outside the hotel. Just the thunk, I don't know if you caught it, is one of the most beautiful thunks of the Terminator getting hit by the car. Also, like, that would have fucked up the car, but whatever. Do you recall that?
Vaguely, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's all. He hits him with the car outside the hotel, and it's like this boop, and he just goes flying, and it made me I was so delighted by it. It's not really like, it's not a note, it's nothing, it's just, I never noticed that.
He looks a little pissed when he has to pick his gun back up. He's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
You would think he'd be able to just plant his feet. And then the car would just I don't know, he's not that boom. Like he's not that durable. Like we see earlier that he fucked his arm up punching through the windshield.
Yeah.
He's not the physics and his own body weight will fuck him up. So
right, and it's of course what made the T-1000 the perfect. Like it's so lucky that he couldn't do the T-1000.
Yeah.
So that in the sequel, it's like, you know what's scarier? This motherfucker.
This guy who can do fucking anything.
Yeah. Yeah, just try to hit him with a car. All right. Well, should we get into anything about the plot you want to shout out? I mean, it's the Terminator.
It's Terminator.
So.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. If you haven't watched it, I guess watch it.
Oh yeah, there's no way people listening to us haven't watched the Terminator, right? Like maybe if you somehow haven't seen it yet, fucking watch it. It's really good.
Honestly, I think as people get older, or rather as we get older and people get younger, there's going to be people who've only seen T2. You know, it's how old is this movie? Don't answer that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't.
Let's get into technically not Arnold. This is talking about Arnold as an actor in this film. And I guess I want to start with the trivia that everybody knows, that he wasn't really a first choice.
It was Lance Henriksen.
James Cameron. It was Lance Henriksen. James Cameron met with Arnold expecting or wanting to get into a fight with him so he could tell the studio, because the studio wanted him.
The studio wanted Arnold, and Jim Cameron didn't want Arnold, assumed he wouldn't like him at all. So he took the meeting basically just to ruin it.
In bad faith. Yeah. And then he ended up really liking Arnold. And it worked out.
Right, because the idea was supposed to be the Terminator's an infiltration robot, so he's supposed to look like everybody. And Arnold stands out.
Right. There's no question that Arnold was the right choice. Of course, he was the right choice.
Of course, he is. Yeah.
With that said, standing back from this movie, I can see why you wouldn't want him for this.
Yeah, it's the principle behind casting Robert Patrick to play the T-1000. Like, Robert Patrick's not a bodybuilder; he's just a guy.
Exactly. On top of that, I actually don't think Arnold's performance is that great.
Oh, I disagree.
I think he's too expressive. I think he's actually too expressive in a lot of scenes. He gets a weird, like a face like he just smelled a fart in a lot of scenes. He flinches too much. Again,
it's low budget filmmaking too. He's one of the scenes he's making a weird face is when he's riding on the hood of the car about to punch through the windshield. I'm
talking about one of the most iconic roles of all time here.
Yeah, that's true.
So I have to keep qualifying with like, of course I'm incorrect. Of course this was the right choice.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
But watching it and being like, oh yeah, he's kind of a little too expressive. I can see how like Lance Hendrickson would be better. I can see this done in a more effective way. Again, I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong here.
I'm the wrongest anyone has ever been.
Yeah, that said, the part at the police station, I'll be back
thing, yeah.
When I never appreciated until this watch, like when the cop says like you'll have to wait here, he scans everything. He looks around.
He does a couple of equations in his head. He's like, all right, I'm pretty sure I can ram the car through this, and then I just walk in and kill everyone.
Yeah, and that's of course, I'll be back. That's never been about the line. It's been about that moment, right?
It's
like
the
that's
moment.
How it became
it's not the line,
meme.
right? It's a nothing line. The context is what's important.
It's one of those lines that we lost the thread on really quickly for that reason, where it's like it's not that iconic of a line. It's real. It's to me, it's him scanning. It's him looking around, sizing it up, and going, "I'll be back.
I'll be back." And then it's a couple of seconds of the desk sergeant sitting there doing paperwork, and then he just fucking drives a car into the building.
Right. According to IMDb trivia, which take with a grain of salt, Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted the line to be "I will be back" because he thought it was more robotic, and he thought the word "I'll" was too feminine.
No.
I don't know about that.
What I've read from, it was either directly from James Cameron or in an interview where somebody was talking about him. What I've read is that he literally had trouble saying it.
Yeah, I can see that.
He had trouble saying "I will be back," so he just said "I'll be back."
I'll be back.
Yeah. But "I will be back" is the line that Jim Cameron had originally written. And
I heard that it was also "I'll come back." Was a version at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Who can say?
Well, yeah. What is apparently what seems to be true is that the line was originally different, and they had to adjust it so that Arnold would say it. What I've read in a place that wasn't IMDb trivia is that he was still was learning his lines phonetically at this point, even though he speaks English.
Right.
He just had trouble saying it, is what I've read.
Yeah, here's the problem with IMDb trivia, and honestly,
it's not vetted. Anybody can.
Well, that. But there's a bigger problem, I think, and it's a problem with even DVD featurettes, is that they're all storytellers, so everybody mythologizes, right?
That's
everything is done.
That's everything. That's this. That's sports. That's music. Everybody self-mythologizes.
Exactly. So every story about the making of every movie. Unless they have footage of it happening.
Yeah, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Because, Cameron has, a legendary beef with the dude who was the head of Orion at the time, or at least the person who was in charge of Terminator, it was at Orion at the time. He's still mad at that guy. And anytime he talks about it, he's like, "Oh, they didn't believe in this or this or this, and they gave me shit on X, Y, and Z." And you hear the Orion guy tell, and he's like, "Well, I didn't believe in the project, but this, and this that he's saying is not actually what happened. It was actually this way." So it's pretty hard to cut through what actually went on with this movie,
right? Like the story of O.J. Simpson almost getting the part.
He was definitely considered.
Yeah, but what that could mean is like a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And then of course that becomes such a big trivia because it's O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was O.J. Simpson on top of the specific reason why they decided against him is because they thought nobody would. O.J.'s public persona at the time, right up until he was arrested for double murder, was that he was a very nice guy. That was like his public persona. So they were like, well, nobody will buy it if he's a murderer.
Right. It's
that's why that piece of trivia has become like. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's legendary trivia.
He might have been in the running for an afternoon, but
right. So all right, we're talking about Arnold as an actor.
Yeah.
One of my notes is just simply he has a teen heartthrob hair in this.
He has teen heartthrob face in this. Like Arnold,
yeah,
he's one of those dudes. And this is this happens to like I don't know, maybe half of people. I don't know, but he's one of those people that like looked better the older he got.
Yeah,
like
he grew into himself.
Right, yeah, like you watch him in like Last Action Hero, you're like, God damn, handsome motherfucker. And then like in the Terminator, he looks very boyish.
Yeah, he's awkward.
Yeah, he's a little awkward, but it works for the character because he's supposed to be this awkward, fucking weird sentinel stomping around murdering people.
Right. And again, for the reasons we said, him versus Michael Biehn, it works really well because he's imposing. Logically, as an infiltration robot, not so much.
No.
I also get why apparently Arnold's agent was like, don't do this movie.
Yeah.
Don't be a villain. I get all the logic of it. Mm-hmm. I get Arnold so far in the career we've watched. His best movies, in my opinion, is Stay Hungry.
Yeah.
Not the best movie he was in, but his best performance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that thing of like, yeah, you're in like... They've yet to figure out, obviously, he can be charismatic and funny and fun. So I can see why, logically, they were like, yeah, Lance Hendrickson, he's imposing, but small. He can infiltrate. I see it. I really see it.
Yeah.
And I see why people were like, maybe not Arnold. But then I think part of why it works is because of his size compared to Kyle Reese, you really feel the desperation.
Yeah, yeah. It
works really well.
I understand. Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to repeat what you said. Yeah, I get the idea behind casting Lance Henriksen, but Arnold is the clear choice because of all the things we just said. Yeah, it really further drives home the desperation. Yeah,
he didn't even need to be a robot. If they were like sent back in time to kill you, oh, is he a robot? Something? No, he's just really muscly.
swole, man.
Yeah, I don't know how to deal with him.
Yeah, pretty sure you can lift Michael Biehn with one arm.
Yeah. So yeah, and like the way he plows through people, like the cop, where he just like grabs him and throws him,
fucking just kills people. Yeah,
they do a really good job with like I shouldn't say Arnold doesn't do a good job because of course he does a good job. I think his body work is really good. I think sometimes his expressions, he's a little too expressive. I would have liked him being more blank faced.
He is. I think you have to really look for those moments when he's breaking his expression, though. For the most part, he's pretty good at holding it. Right.
And again, his body language, he's like a fucking locomotive. It's like nothing's stopping him. Mm-hmm. He's going to plow right through you.
He does a good detail, again, and it's all physical. Like, he doesn't have many lines, obviously. He's Terminator. And that's
he has less lines than Conan, I think. It's something like 15 lines.
Yeah, he doesn't say much at all. So I could see why his managers would have been like, "You shouldn't do this movie. It's not a big part, and it's just going to bury you."
Right.
But he does a good. Like, there's a couple of bits where when he spots Sarah Connor, his eyes will get wide. You know, it's like just, like little I don't know,
little things,
little details like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, along with the lines, he's not physically. It's a Hannibal Lecter situation. Yeah. For the last act of the film, he's an effect. He's a puppet.
Yep.
He's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mm-mm. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the actor, very unceremoniously leaves this movie in the truck.
Yeah.
It's just boom, he's done. It's a puppet now.
Yeah.
And there's something, I don't know, weird about that, but not really. Again,
weird in retrospect, yeah.
Yeah, in retrospect. Again, as an agent, you'd be like, this isn't really a big part.
Yeah,
you're just a villain.
You're in 6 scenes, and then you don't even get to participate in the finale. So you're just an effect in the finale. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just a plot device.
More or less, yeah.
That's the thing is, this could have
really.
just...
I mean, it is, but...
Yeah, this could have been... when you think about...
Could have been a stuntman.
I think... Yes, exactly. It could have been a stuntman. And I think what made this make him a superstar, it almost feels like the difference between... Because here, I think this is what's incredible about this movie as opposed to other slasher movies. Most slasher movies, the actor is covered in bullshit. Be it a mask or makeup. That's the whole thing. Like, unless it's Freddy, you don't see their face.
Correct.
His mask, the scary mask, is just his expressionless face and his presence. And that's, I think at the time they didn't think about what kind of an effect that would have on him as a star, but it's absolutely part of what elevated him. Everybody remembers him. Like Michael Myers is a mask that you could put on anybody.
The Terminator is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
The reason why we're still making movies with him as an old man is because no one else can play the Terminator.
Yeah.
They can play a Terminator, but not the
Terminator. Yeah.
So yeah, it was in retrospect an extremely smart career move that at the time I can see why you'd think it wouldn't be. That's all I have for Technically Not Arnold.
I think that's plenty, man.
Absolutely. Should we all right, let's move on to Definitely Not Arnold.
Oh man.
This is the side characters.
Yeah, these are all the glorious side characters in the movie.
Yeah. I want to start by noting that Arnold is a side character.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we have Linda Hamilton and Michael Biehn. Both are doing an amazing job.
Yeah, very good in this movie.
I also realized
they tend to
get
they tend to get overlooked in this movie too, which is a shame.
Because Arnold,
of Arnold, but they're both doing very good work.
Yeah. Also, I love how James Cameron's like roadmap to empowering their protagonist is they have to stop to at least flirt with Michael Biehn, if not have sex with Michael Biehn. It's Ripley and Sarah Connor. You gotta pass through that Michael Biehn toll booth, and then Michael Biehn has to die.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't die in the James Cameron Aliens.
No, but he dies in the
Does Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio flirt with him in the abyss before he explodes?
God, maybe. What are other? What's other Michael Biehn?
I think that's all. I think it's all the Jim Cameron ones.
Okay, it might just be a Michael Biehn thing though, too.
It might not be a thing. I feel like it's.
Like I said, just this era. He just did it twice.
I don't think Hicks had much to do with Ripley's empowerment. I think you're trying to make this work, and it doesn't really.
She has a little flirty relationship.
A little bit, but she's already
it's like a rite of passage
at that point.
Ooh, Stanley Goodspeed. He has to. I know it's not.
What are you doing?
I know it's not James Cameron, but he has to hang out with Michael Biehn, and then he becomes badass.
He becomes badass because of Sean
I'm saying
Connery.
that the road the road between an everyman becoming an everyman to badass sometimes has a stop at Michael Biehn.
Is a stop along the way, sure.
Yeah. You gotta quickly wave at Michael Biehn as you go by.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the punks.
Oh man, the fucking punks. Unfortunately, I have not ever really taken the time to commit this third louse's name to memory.
Yeah, because the other two it's the alien bounty hunter and Bill Paxton. Yeah. So it's hard to remember that guy, and he's the guy who has the clothes.
Yeah, he's the guy he takes the clothes from.
Yeah. But I mean, they're the most obvious ones.
The kid who puts ice cream into Sarah Connor's fucking apron at work.
Brad Reardon is the third Punk.
Wow, bless him.
And his career is not as satisfying.
No, well, of course. If he was meant for success, we would have noticed him like we noticed Bill Paxton in The Alien Bounty Hunter.
Right. He actually didn't do anything after 1987.
Sure.
I don't know why. Maybe he has passed. This doesn't say he has. It can't be stressed enough that the Punks are stargazing.
Yeah. Well, they're getting drunk and looking through a telescope at the Griffith Observatory.
And he's going, hey, my turn.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It's 1984, Jay.
Yeah.
What else are they going to do?
They got nothing to do.
They're gonna fucking go get drunk and fucking high as shit and just drive around Los Angeles. That's all there is to do.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely the end of a night. Like, they went to a show. Mm-hmm. They got drunk. They drove up to the observatory to look at bullshit.
Yeah. You want to hang out at the park?
Shout out to the Garbage Man also.
Fuck with my dad. Yeah, the Garbage Man's pretty sweet.
Who doesn't give a shit? Like,
he has almost no reaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that rents Arnold the room.
Oh, what a hero!
That fucking champion.
Really, anybody who interacts with Arnold.
Mr. Futterman, the gun store owner.
Yeah, who keeps
Miller.
his bullets on the counter.
Yeah, like an asshole.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you can't load that gun in here. Then don't keep the fucking bullets on the counter, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What is that, an impulse buy? Oh, yeah, I need some shells.
Yeah,
next to the gum. What are you doing?
Yeah. The homeless guy who has his pants stolen.
Yeah.
The cops who give it their all to stop the pants thief.
Yeah, and then that one blessedly confused officer who tells him what the date is. What year?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Obviously, Dr. Silberman, that fucking hero.
Of course. Shout out to the nameless future hero who in Kyle's flashback throws a grenade and gets incinerated.
Yeah.
Causing Kyle Reese to flinch slightly.
Yeah, I think
he doesn't seem torn up about that guy's death.
Well, it's the lady, right? Isn't there an it felt like there's an implication in that scene that she's like a protege or possibly romantic interest, but more likely protege relation. It's because they like are kind of, I don't know. He says something about when Sarah Connor's like, do they have women in your time? He's like, yeah, they make good fighters. Or she actually, what are they like in your time? And he says they're good fighters. And then he has this flashback where he's running a mission with this woman and she gets fucking nuked.
Popped.
And he's like, ugh.
It's like War of the Worlds.
It's real bad. It's like a real bad because she ducks for cover, but it's like the duck and cover videos. It's so useless on its face, and then she gets incinerated by a laser.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Perfect moment. No notes.
Yeah.
The hero driving the pickup truck. Flashback.
Wait.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. And of course we have to talk about Matt and Ginger. Sarah Connors.
Oh my God, Matt and Ginger.
Yeah. And Pugsley, the iguana, who probably ate their body before the cops showed up.
Oh yeah, Pugsley is still in that apartment for all we know.
Probably
it's Sarah's lizard, and she never comes back to get him.
I would love for Dark Fate to be like the return of Pugsley as like a robot.
Comes out of it. It's like the dog in Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Matt calling Ginger and just like, he's an absolute beefcake and just like talking dirty to the first female voice. Yeah, the
first woman who picks it. Like, he can't tell the difference between Sarah and Ginger's voice on the phone, even though presumably he talks to Ginger every day.
Yeah.
That's Slider from Top Gun, which we just watched last night.
Oh, beautiful. He kisses Sarah like a weirdo.
Yeah, they're all pals. They're all pals.
They fuck to aerobic music, generic aerobic music.
And then she goes and makes herself the biggest goddamn sandwich in the world.
Yeah, she does. While she's getting murdered.
As I get older, I get sadder and sadder when they die. Because it's like, I want to just see these two be okay.
These two are like everybody's parents.
Because fucking Matt tries to fist fight the Terminator. I mean, granted, he doesn't know it's the Terminator, but he's like, I'll bust you up, man. Like, he fights the Terminator.
Terminator's like, oh, no, you will not. Yeah. He gets in his
underpants.
moments.
Like, he's wearing some sweet little tiger striped man briefs. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And little socks.
He's a real trooper, Matt.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ginger's has her music blasting so much. It's very slasher movie.
Yeah.
That she can't hear it.
Yeah.
Fucking listening. She has to die listening to generic, like, weird 80s music.
The thing that I'm thinking about my train of thought right now is he shoots Ginger like 9,000 times.
Right.
Which, it's like, well, it's Terminator. He's making sure that they're dead. But it's like, also, why does Terminator even need guns? I don't know. We don't need to go off on that tangent. But like, he can kill any person on the planet with his bare hands in 1 second.
I think it's because robots. They're like, well, if you're all the way over there,
that's
like,
true.
This
is
still easier.
This is a little bit easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Matt and Ginger,
my job a little easier.
Yeah. What fucking heroes?
Lieutenant Traxler and the whatever Lance Henriksen's character's name is.
Yeah, let's talk about these 80s police and their 80s police station with, I think every 80s police station has to come with a skeevy white tweaker freaking out.
Yeah.
Because there's
in every one of these movies.
Let me go. Yeah. And they're just like, yeah.
It's the
there's
80s,
something
man.
special
Crime.
80s.
Like every movie in the 80s had to pontificate about crime.
Right.
Anyway,
there was actually a moment with the cops that I hadn't noticed before, and I'm ashamed I hadn't. Where he says, "Give me a cigarette," and then realizes he's already in the middle of smoking one.
Their bits together are very funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's really the only comedy in the movie.
Oh yeah, if they hadn't gotten killed by the Terminator, they would have died of lung cancer and alcoholism like 5 minutes after the scene.
In 1987.
Yeah.
Reagan would still be in office.
Yeah. There's some just 80s police. Shout out to every single person at Tech Noir.
Yes, oh man, the guy
wasn't
dancing.
a real place. Yeah. Oh God, yes.
Whoever wrote the song, you got me burning.
Yes. I looked it up.
Person that tried to stop Arnold because he didn't pay.
Yes.
He doesn't even look at him. Like, he grabs him.
Why
He's
would
like,
he?
hey man, and Arnold just
insect.
crushes his hand. Continues looking around for Sarah Connor.
Right.
Such a good moment.
It's such a good moment. And like, God, yeah, I
like
wish that was a real place.
I
think they've done Tech Noir pop-ups.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was never a real place. I looked it up because I was like, is that a club?
It couldn't have been. Yeah.
No
club would call itself Tech Noir.
No,
Only a nerd like James Cameron would invent a club that was called Tech Noir.
Tech Noir. Perfect club.
Yeah. It's no notes about the club. It's amazing. You got people doing the 80s dance with their really skinny ties.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or some other heroes.
Well, the trucker and his trucker apprentice. Which I still want to know more about, because the trucker hits Arnold and then he turns to a guy trucking with him and he's like, wait here. And I know they did it so that he could get in and go get out.
Get out, yeah.
But like, I don't think truckers truck in pairs. I could be wrong. I could very much be wrong.
I have no idea. If you told me it was like long haul and you would like, just trade shifts or whatever, I would, a dummy who knows nothing about the trucking industry, would be like, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, my only experience is I worked at a truck stop diner, and just from that, they always came not in pairs. It was always single dudes stopping to sleep.
Yeah, and the stereotype is the lone trucker, picking up a hitchhiker for sexual favors. Right. So who knows? I don't know what's actually true.
It's the fact that the other trucker is younger and he seems to be bossing him around. So it's like, oh, it's his trucker apprentice. I'm
gonna show you the ropes.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a good job, so
yeah,
I guess good for them.
Pays well.
Except he's going to have a real story. They don't talk too much about the aftermath of this movie. And then the only last hero I have is like, when you think the movie is not going to have any more heroes, you think, oh, okay, we're seconds away from the credits. A child shows up and says, if I don't sell you this picture, my father will beat me.
For some money.
Yeah.
She gets hustled by this like 11-year-old pro. It's great.
Yeah. Says, you're very pretty. I'm sad I have to charge you, or else my father will beat me.
Yep.
It's like, wow.
It's a good hustle.
All right. Yeah, she says, "Good hustle, kid."
Yep.
God, so many heroes.
That's the one thing you can always, well, not the one thing, but one thing you can always count on in James Cameron movies is they're going to be loaded with just fucking icons.
Yes, he loves
goofy little characters that appear for a scene or two.
It's one of those things where I feel like on set, someone walks in and they're like, "Hey, James, can I wear a cowboy hat for this?" And he's like, "Fuck yeah, wear 3 cowboy hats. Anything that like makes you a human." You know, like it's that idea of like, I want to fill this world with people.
Yeah, it's got to feel lived in. You know.
Yeah, and I want to give the moment where he says, "Do you have a cigarette?" and he realizes he's always smoking one. Like, that didn't have to happen. That character is just there for exposition and to die. Mm-hmm. But he fills it out. Every little moment he can to give a character something, he does. Mm-hmm. Listening to fucking music while having sex. Like, it's like fucking Pugsley.
We get a couple of side characters that only have 1 or 2 scenes, but we get so much information about who they are from those 2 scenes.
Yeah. It's great. Okay. Well, I guess we got to wrap this up.
Yeah,
so
man.
We're going to talk about the most Arnold. Moment that is the most Arnold.
The most Arnold moment in the Terminator. This is legitimately tough.
Well, it is and it isn't, because I think the obvious one is I'll be back.
Yeah.
That said, that's not necessarily the most Arnold moment. It depends on what you call Arnold, because I'll be back is his defining line.
Yes.
So it's hard to think of a moment that isn't the most Arnold, that isn't that.
Yeah.
But it's also not Arnold's entire career. It doesn't sum it up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Because they only did that for a couple of movies after.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that he's a villain.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's not terribly charming in it, so we can't pick moments where he's being like
right.
the Arnold
It's actually
persona. Yeah.
It's one of the least Arnold characters.
Yes.
In the span of his career. Mm-hmm. This is actually one of the weirder characters.
It's one of the ones that's the least like him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least the least like the personality he presents in movies.
Yeah. Is there a moment where he's the most charming? Maybe "fuck you, asshole."
Fuck you, asshole.
Like, him swearing doesn't feel very Arnold.
No, but I do really, obviously I love that scene because it's perfect and amazing. But yeah, just the idea that a robot would be like, "Well, I want this guy to go away. Let me just pick from a list of responses that should do it."
Yeah. Something Bill Paxton said earlier.
Yeah.
Is it
nice
maybe
night
when
for
he
a walk?
gets
that would be my only other vote, really, although I could make a couple not so serious arguments, but the first line he says is "nice night for a walk." Like, he doesn't quite understand what they're saying to him. It's like there's a moment where he first arrives in our time where he's kind of adjusting still.
Yes, he's trying to figure things out.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's still like absorbing information about where he is. So it's like when he first talks to the punks, he seems kind of confused, like out of sorts.
Right.
And it's
also
a funny delivery.
Stargazing punks, they picked like one of the only types of characters who would because like generally speaking, if you see a swole naked man who has no expression, you don't talk to him.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah. I mean, they were 80s punks.
Maybe
they all have switchblades. I guess they thought.
That's what I mean, is they have to choose like reckless characters. They have to, in both T2 and this one, they have to choose characters who have outfits that he can wear, who like have it coming, you know, who have to like invite the ass kicking,
or not necessarily have it coming, but would conceivably provoke someone like this in a situation like this.
Yeah. Most Arnold, when he gets his eyebrows burnt off.
That was one of my other ones that I was going to make.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
It's very, very funny. He's also wearing like a weird hairpiece after that because his hair gets burned.
Yeah.
So he has kind of funny hair from that point on. His hair looks real stupid.
We haven't talked about it. The effects are obviously great and not great at the same time.
The mirror one's pretty rough.
Yeah, I would call them dated. Like I can see at the time people going, "Oh wow, this is," but it's one of those things that reminds me of like the randomness of movies. Is like when you watch like there's other action movies from the 80s that have cheesy premises, and it's like, why didn't those work? And it's like, well, because they just weren't made as well.
Yeah.
But like the effects are all kind of on the same like plane, you know, where it's like
they have the same. They're built from the same resources, but not by the same talent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is Stan Winston.
Yeah.
And they knew how to hide it as best they could.
Uh-huh.
When he turns into a full robot, it's perfect.
It also
that sequence.
Yes. Yeah. When he comes climbing out of the wreckage, you mean?
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
And when he's going up the stairs, all of that.
Yeah.
It all looks very good.
Mm-hmm.
But the puppet shit with the eye is
it's
like
rough.
Oof.
It's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're gonna solve this most.
No, let's just. I mean, it's probably got to be "I'll Be Back," right? Honestly.
Yeah, I think it has to be.
It has to be "I'll Be Back." Yeah.
So now it's time to rate the movie as we do with all of these.
I want to point out we didn't really highlight it, but that desk sergeant, I believe, deserves to be included in the definitely not Arnold.
Who gets hit by the car?
Right, because he gets hit by a fucking car.
Well, yeah, on top of that...
he's doing some paperwork. He's probably about to go home in 15 minutes.
Yeah. The other thing on top of that is, like, he knows that Sarah Connor is a lady who's being hunted, right?
Yeah, a murderer has killed three other Sarah Connors, yeah.
Yeah, they probably put out a memo, and this giant... terrifying man comes in. He's like, I'd like to see Sarah Connor. And the guy goes, you'll have to wait. And it's like, you should probably tell someone that this person is here because
this giant odd dude came in and asked about her. Right? Like your police sense should be tingling at that point.
Right. Exactly. But no.
What a hero.
All right. Let's give this a rating. This is we're rating, of course, in our system of between 1 and 20 stolen pants. Mm-hmm. Tom, how many stolen pants would you give this movie?
It's a difficult question because the Terminator franchise has a storied tradition steeped in stolen pants. It happens.
That's mainly what it's about.
Right. It's really a continuing saga of people from the future coming to our present to steal our clothes.
Right.
Man, I'd have to give this like 37 pants.
37 pants. Yeah. I would say definitely more than 20. This is yeah. I'd say 37, maybe even 40 pants.
Well, Dave, let me tell you why I decided on the number 37.
Okay.
Are you ready to hear this?
Yeah.
It's because it's how old this movie is.
Oh, that is why I told you not to
bringing it back.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It just occurred to me. Okay, this is funny. I said, don't tell me how old this movie was. Mm-hmm. I was born in 1984.
I know.
I forgot. I legitimately forgot. I keep forgetting how old I am.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's funny when you get carded and they're like, how old are you? And you have to stop and think.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I have to be over 30.
I mean,
at
look
this
at my
point, right?
gray hair.
Yeah, I turned 30 and then I stopped paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck, we're old.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, well, that was it. That's the Terminator.
No!
What movie are we doing next for Arnold, do you think?
Commando? Running Man?
It's probably... is Commando's pre-Running Man, right?
I believe so.
I feel like
but I believe
I feel like we need... Yeah. I'm gonna look right now. I feel like Commando has to be on the list. We can skip Red Sonja, right?
Oh yeah. It's got Ernie Reyes
Commando.
In it as a boy, but
all right. Here's the thing. I haven't seen Red Sonja. I also haven't seen Raw Deal, and I feel like Raw Deal's the one I'd want to watch.
Yeah, we got to watch Raw Deal. Out of those two, we should watch Raw Deal. If for no other reason than Schwarzenegger's actually like the main character in Raw Deal.
Yeah. Also, before the Running Man, you're forgetting the Predator.
Oh, Predator. Yeah, 86.
80s.
87.
Well, yeah, it actually they're both 87, Running Man and Predator.
Yeah.
But so yeah, well, I guess Commando next. Stopover at Raw Deal, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
A Predator, then a Running Man.
We got so much ahead of us. So many glorious multiverses to visit.
You know what I'm really excited for?
What?
Twins.
Oh yeah, that's 89, right?
88. I haven't seen it. I saw it maybe once as a kid.
Oh man.
And it's also the first Schwarzenegger that's like, it's not going to be action.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be...
That movie started Arnold in comedies.
Yeah, that's his first one. Someone said, wouldn't it be funny if we had him and Danny DeVito? And it's like, absolutely, it would be funny.
Well, yeah, but the movie goes even further. You'll see. It goes even further than that because it plays with Arnold's persona.
They're twins.
Well, it's not just that they're twins. It's that Arnold is gentle and sweet and thoughtful and cerebral.
Right.
And then Danny DeVito is like a real grimy shitbag.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So it subverts Arnold's persona. Like even at that early stage, they already knew that was like the smart thing to do.
Right. Should we? Probably not. I was going to say, should we cover Christmas in Connecticut, the only film that Arnold Schwarzenegger directed?
Yep. Made for TV reboot of Christmas in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Or remake,
he has a
rather.
cameo in it.
Sure. I remember the commercials for that where it was just
time.
Arnold sitting in the easy chair by the fire threatening us to watch his film.
And everybody's like, okay, sure. I guess I have to watch this.
That's really what it did. Obviously they did it jokingly, but the commercial was actually Arnold sitting there and you better watch my movie.
It's not Liam Neeson. It's the Unhinged stuff where Russell Crowe threatened us to watch his movie.
Yeah, it's called fucking Unhinged. You better see it.
Yeah. Jesus. Well, shit. Thank you to Norm from Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This was a delight.
Mm-hmm.
If people are interested, this was through our Patreon, and if you go to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, you'll see a bunch of stuff, including some exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder's a Maniac and Star Trek The Next Futurama. These are all exclusive Patreon podcasts, and they're great.
Yeah,
I think so, at least.
They are great.
Yeah, they're great.
I agree. They're pretty great. We also have a store, tpublic.com/store/gamefullyunemployed. You can get t-shirts, masks, mugs, stickers, posters, all kinds of things. Check that out.
Yeah. And watch The Terminator.
Yeah. Did we elaborate that this is a tier on our Patreon? I'm sure they are.
Yeah. Well, not watching The Terminator.
No.
Anybody can watch The Terminator.
Anybody can watch Terminator.
This was just done through our Patreon.
Yes.
We also watch movies every Friday night. I think we would definitely watch The Terminator recently.
We must have, yeah.
It's all a blur. Life is just, God, we're just plummeting to the grave.
Uh-huh.
You know, like, it's just, I'm grabbing onto anything I can.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not.
I'm just falling into the darkness.
I'm making myself as aerodynamic as possible so I can just rocket into it.
Yeah. That's fair. You're like Point Break, going straight into the grave.
Yep. Did you hear that, guys? We're finally gonna die.
Oh, shit.
All right.
I guess that's as good as a way of any to end this. So.
Yep. Bye.
Australia